Welcome to Try Friend Heroes, a Legend of Zelda podcast. I'm Ellen.
I'm Kayla.
I'm Kazum.
And today we're discussing A Link Between Worlds. Woo woo.
Yay.
Yay.
In this game, a young blacksmith assistant named Link is the key to saving the world of Hyrule and Lorule. Using his power to transform into a painting and pass between worlds, and with items available at a low rental fee, Link saves the 7 stages and ultimately the world. Can you tell I just wrote that summary in the last 2 minutes that we were just talking?
Not even a little.
This highly, as usual, critically acclaimed game was released for 3DS, the Nintendo 3DS, in November 2013 in North America and December 2013 in Japan. So it's one of those ones that came out a little earlier in North America, which always is confusing to me for some reason, but whatever. I guess that's the world we're living in these days. Those days in 2013. And 10 years ago. And it sold 4.24 million copies, which was more than Skyward Sword, which also blew my mind.
Oh, wow.
And less than Phantom Hourglass.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I know, right?
Yes.
It was more than Skyward Sword for the Wii, I guess. Like, I think the numbers for the Switch one would be different, but on its original console, it sold less, which is still surprising. But I guess, I don't know. I think the thing about DSs is there are so many of them. Like, people...
I guess, yeah.
Like handheld Nintendo.
I think Skyward Sword was also toward the end of the Wii's lifespan, so
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
people still had them, but they were like in the garage at that point.
They weren't playing Wii Bowling anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I heard today, as of like the day of recording, that the Wii Sports was like added to the like video game Hall of Fame or something. So I heard from someone, and yeah, I feel like that's well deserved. Yeah. I feel like Wii Sports changed the Wii console, like the earliest like releases of the Wii console changed like gaming like basically forever. So a lot of motion consoles came after that. And apparently I totally forgot this, but I was doing research for this, and the 3DS also has a gyroscope, which I guess makes sense because I guess that's how it aligns stuff when you're using like augmented reality.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff like that.
I was gonna say I remember using it with like the weird little built-in
the
game
cards.
where you shoot people's faces and stuff.
Right. I forgot about that. All those Street Pass games were like the best. I think the 3DS was a great console. I didn't play this game at the time. Like I just my first time playing it was during this like while we were preparing for recording, but what a good console the 3DS.
Yeah, I was so into the Street Pass games, like whenever we went to some crowded area like a convention or something.
Same, and I feel like I played them more than I played like games like cartridge games for the 3DS. Like I remember playing my 3DS a lot, but like then when I think about it, I don't remember playing that many games. Like it was like Triforce Heroes, and like I played a little bit of like Star Fox 64 and like Ocarina of Time 64 or whatever, and probably some Pokemon, I don't even know. And Mario Kart, which was like one of the popular games I think for this. And yeah, of course this game was critically highly acclaimed, like all of them. I think especially partially because of the nostalgia factor of it being like basically like the same map at least as A Link to the Past. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the music is like very similar, and I think people kind of like that, but with all the new like twists, so it seemed to be well received.
Yeah, like we talked about Twilight Princess being a love letter to Ocarina of Time, but this is like even more so a love letter to A Link to the Past.
This is like a dedication. So anyway, it's time to seamlessly segue to you, Kayla. So whenever you're ready. Yeah, it's you. It's you.
In the prosperous kingdom of Hyrule, a boy named Link works as a blacksmith's apprentice. He's sent on an errand to bring a sword to the captain of the guard, who's visiting the sanctuary north of the castle. But when he arrives, he witnesses a shocking event. A strange sorcerer called Yuga has entered the sanctuary, and he casts a spell on Ceres, the priest's daughter, which turns her into a painting. Link charges in to confront Yuga, but the sorcerer turns himself into a living painting and merges with the wall to escape, and Link just collides with the wall and knocks himself out. Like a hero.
That's definitely the hero way.
Definitely the way of the holder of the Triforce of Courage. Just charge right in.
That's why Zelda is the holder of the Triforce of Wisdom.
Yes. Fortunately, maybe, he's found by a strange man wearing a bunny hood, who graciously dragged Link to a convenient vacant house, also known as Link's home, to recover. He introduces himself as Ravio, a traveling merchant, and once he hears what Link has just witnessed at the sanctuary, he urges him to go and report it to the castle. And then he stops Link before he leaves to ask if it's cool if he crashes here for a few days. He can't pay rent, but he does have a smelly old bracelet to offer, which is basically just as good. And so, armed, pun intended, with this new gift, Link...
You wrote that and you didn't expect us to laugh? Just out of curiosity.
Link sets off for Hyrule Castle to inform Princess Zelda of the strange goings-on in her kingdom. The princess is slightly startled when she meets Link, as she recognizes him from a dream she's been having lately, a dream of a hero locked in battle against a great evil. As Link has also been having similar dreams, the princess sees this meeting as fate and is quite inclined to believe his tale. She gifts Link with a special charm that the royal family has been looking after for generations, and sends him to seek the advice of Sahasrahla, the elder of Kakariko Village.
You did it.
I did it, and I have to do it a few more times. I never thought I'd have to say his name again. I forgot about this game.
Right?
On hearing Link's story, Sahasrahla tells him that Ceres is a descendant of one of the original 7 sages who sealed away Ganon long ago, and he believes that Yuga is out to gather all these current sages in order to free Ganon. He then realizes with alarm that this means his apprentice Osfala, whom he just sent to investigate the Eastern Palace, is in great danger, as he is also a descendant of a sage, and he asks Link to hurry over to warn him. Link reaches Osfala as he enters the palace, but is unable to convince him of the danger he's in, and by the time Link follows him to the end of the palace, Yuga has arrived to turn him into a painting and steal him away. Link confronts Yuga and is able to hold his own a little better this time, but Yuga soon grows frustrated with the fight and lashes out with his painting magic, adhering Link to the wall as an immobile image. Or at least, that was the intent. After Yuga flees the scene, gloating to himself about his desire to add Zelda to his painting collection, the bracelet on the image of Link begins to glow, and he begins to move, soon pulling himself from the wall and back into the 3-dimensional world. Link is now able to freely merge and move across walls the same way Yuga does, which allows him to quickly make his way back out of the palace. Sahasrahla meets him at the entrance. Link tells him what just happened, but before they can make any plans, the ground begins to shake. Something is happening at Hyrule Castle. They rush over to see what's up, and find that the castle is now surrounded by a powerful magical barrier. Sahasrahla explains that the Master Sword is the key to breaking through the barrier, but he despairs that this is hopeless, because the 3 pendants of virtue are necessary to obtaining it, and one is within the barrier, held by Princess Zelda. Link holds out the charm Zelda gave him earlier and says, "What, this old thing?" Not really, but the charm is, in fact, the pendant of courage that Sahasrahla was talking about. With renewed hope, he sends Link out into the world to seek out the other 2 pendants. He does so with a little help from apparently permanent house guest Ravio, who has taken it upon himself to shove all of Link's furniture aside to open up a shop in his house. He does have some pretty cool items to rent out to you, though. With all 3 pendants in hand proving his worthiness, Link ventures into the Lost Woods to retrieve the Master Sword. With that legendary blade, Link is able to dispel the barrier around Hyrule Castle and head inside. Unfortunately, Link arrives too late, helpless to intervene as Yuga brags of having already captured all 7 sages, before turning Zelda into the final painting in his collection. Link pursues Yuga through the castle, eventually winding up at an apparent dead end in an empty room. But hidden behind a curtain is a strange glowing crack in the wall. Link merges with the wall and slips through it, and after a rather trippy transition, he finds himself in a dark, broken-down parallel of the room he just left. Link winds his way through this odd mirror of Hyrule Castle to reach Yuga once again, only to find him already in the middle of the ritual to release Ganon using the paintings of the 7 sages. He successfully summons the Demon King and merges with him, forming an even more powerful and monstrous entity, and slowly approaches Link. Before he can attack, however, a young, dark-haired woman bearing a striking resemblance to Zelda suddenly appears, and uses her magic to bind him and stop him in his tracks. The woman turns to Link and introduces herself as Princess Hilda, the ruler of Hyrule's Dark Mirror, the Kingdom of Lorule, which is just the best pun.
Everything about it is great.
She claims the blame for being unable to stop Yuga from slipping between their realms to enact his evil plot, and says she cannot hold him for long, and that when he breaks free, both kingdoms will be doomed. She uses her magic to send Link to safety outside the castle, and begs for him to succeed where she failed and defeat Yuga. She tells him that the paintings of the sages have been sent to the far reaches of Lorule, and that Link must retrieve and unite them to awaken his full potential. Unfortunately, Lorule is a place that is literally falling apart, with large chunks of land separated by impassable chasms. Fortunately, Yuga's scheme has forced Lorule and Hyrule close together, with many magical cracks now allowing passage between them for someone with Link's wall-merging abilities.
Convenient.
With Hilda's voice guiding him, Link makes his way all across both worlds, delving deep into dangerous dungeons to rescue the sages. When all 7 are freed and brought together, they use their power to summon the Triforce of Courage and gift it to Link, giving him the power to confront the combined might of Yuga and Ganon. But it turns out that Link has been tricked, and Hilda was actually working with Yuga the whole time, because long ago, Lorule was a prosperous kingdom with its own Triforce, just like Hyrule. But when its people began to fight over the power of the Triforce, Hilda's ancestors decided to destroy theirs instead of hiding it away as Hyrule did. But this turned out to be a terrible mistake, as the Triforce was the very foundation of Lorule, and the very land itself began to crumble and decay in its absence. Out of desperation to save her kingdom and her people, Hilda plotted with Yuga to steal away Hyrule's Triforce instead. Unfortunately for her, Yuga's motivations were a bit less noble than her own, and he takes the first opportunity to betray her, transforming her into another painting and seizing at the power of the Triforce for himself.
I fucking knew she was trouble. I just want to throw that out there. I was like, I don't know. And then later she's like, just kidding, it's mine. And I was like, okay, I was right.
Well, she was doing the creepy, I have you now, my pretty thing with Zelda's painting the whole time.
I don't like these cutscenes. At first I was like, that's fine. And then I was like, you know what? I should have learned from other Zelda games to never trust anybody that's in an alternate reality of Hyrule. Except for Midna. Midna was the only one. Everyone else is not trustworthy.
She had good intentions, just...
Yeah, well.
Yeah, sure,
I mean,
yeah.
so did Midna. But then later she was like, I was wrong about my intentions to steal power from Hyrule. And Hilda is like, oh, Yuga, you betrayed me. How dare. And like, that's the end of her until later, until she sends them back. So anyway.
A determined Link is able to defeat him and free both princesses, but Hilda is still desperate to save her world. She steps forward, ready to make a last-ditch effort to attack Link and Zelda for the Triforce, but she's interrupted by Ravio, of all people. The bunny-hooded merchant rushes in to throw himself between the would-be combatants, and he lowers his hood to reveal that he himself bears a striking resemblance to Link.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's Lonk. I was waiting with bated breath the whole time that he's talking to see if they would give him a alt name, but they never do. It's like so mad. I guess I don't know if we've ever discussed this, but sometimes I use Lonk as my player name in these games for reasons, and that's why it was especially funny to me. I don't remember if this has been a topic on the podcast before. I think it might have been. Just for clarity.
And indeed, Ravio was supposed to play the role of Lorule's great hero and loyally served Princess Hilda until recently. But he claims to be a coward at heart. He was horrified by the plan Hilda and Yuga had come up with, but he couldn't bring himself to confront his princess. Instead, he fled to Hyrule, hoping their hero would be someone more courageous who could put a stop to things. Hilda is at first enraged by this betrayal, but Ravio pleads with her to listen to him. He also wants the best for Lorule, but condemning another kingdom to destruction is a bridge too far. It's exactly the sort of violence and chaos that Hilda's ancestors had hoped to prevent by destroying their Triforce in the first place, and Ravio wanted to save her from all of that. Hilda is moved by his words, and horrified to realize just how far she had been willing to take things, and she relents. She sends Link and Zelda safely home through a crack in what remains of Lorule's sacred realm. The two find themselves in their own world's sacred realm, standing before the gleaming Triforce. Zelda tells Link he should reach out and make a wish on it, but then muses that they both probably have the same wish now, after all they've seen. They share a look, and together reach out to place their hands on the Triforce. It shines with power, and back in Lorule, Hilda and Ravio watch in amazement as their own kingdom's Triforce is restored, saving them all from ruin. With tears in her eyes, Hilda thanks Zelda and the hero of Hyrule. Roll credits.
It was a happy ending for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they should have given the Triforce also like an alt name. I don't know what it would be.
The Quad Force.
Trifarce. Or like Triforce backwards, like something like that. I can't talk. I can't think. How? If it's
What would that be?
Ecrofert. Yeah, why not call it that?
Yeah, that rolls off the tongue. I like how it's just a Triforce but upside down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because because like Lorule is like a mirror image or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
therefore the Triforce has to be.
Yeah, I do like. I do like in the logo where it kind of looks like a Triforce shadow, but like when you play the game, you're like, oh, it's their Triforce.
Ooh. They have their own sacred realm and their own Triforce.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot. I was gonna try and convince you to when you were writing your summary, Ellen, of like copying the first season summary of Stranger Things, and then be like, oh wait, wrong game.
Oh, I would have done that
down.
if I had been clever enough to think about it, but I didn't even write one before we started recording. So I wrote the first sentence, which was like, in a link between worlds, a young blacksmith assistant, and that was like all that I had written. So, and then I have like all my other notes, but I forgot to go back and write that. Maybe I'll edit in the Stranger Things theme song. Would that be acceptable?
Oh, I'd love that.
Okay,
yes.
well, we'll see what happens. Note for future, Ellen. If you're not too busy playing Tears of the Kingdom, then edit this in or whatever whenever this comes out. Because I think this episode comes out June 1st, so we'll be playing Tears of the Kingdom by then for sure. So. Back in time when we were recording this, Tears of the Kingdom comes out in like a week, so.
I know. Oh.
But by then, by now, listener, it's already out. So we're excited in the past, I guess.
Yeah, don't spoil us here in the past.
Yeah, they can't in the past. I guess traveling back and forward in time is kind of a Zelda theme thing. So I guess we're free recording is on point.
Yeah, I didn't realize until we played all these games in a row just how much the Zelda series loves its like dual world thing.
Yeah, like literally all of them. It's either that or it's like a dream, like Link's Awakening, or like what's the other? Well, Link's Awakening was a dream. Wasn't there another one that was like? Or was it a
Phantom
dream?
Hourglass?
Oh yeah, Phantom Hourglass was a. They were in an alternate world.
So maybe maybe a dream.
I mean, they said that they were.
You got like
they were on there for 10 minutes, so they were in some kind of alternate reality. But
yeah, I think the world is real. It's just in a little pocket dimension, not actually part of their world.
Yeah, it's not the same, but it's not like another world like how Hyrule and Lorule or whatever like actually have, or like the.
Yeah, it's
Dark
not like
World
connected
or...
where you go back and forth between them.
No.
Yeah, you have like the Light World and Dark World and
Link to the Past.
Link to the Past, and then Hyrule and Lorule in this one, and then you have like the Ocarina of Time, like 7 years apart.
Yes.
Past and future. You got the kind of the Twilight Realm and Twilight Princess, and then like the different like time periods and seasons in the Oracle's games that you go back and forth between.
Well, Majora's Mask is like the same 3 days, but you're all in one place.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Yeah, and I think that actually, like, the Twilight Realm or whatever is more similar to Lorule, like, than other...
Oh, yeah,
than even, like, in the Dark Realm and Link to the Past, because, like, in...
Yeah, it's like, it's a mirror image, but covered in, like, shadows, that's, like...
And, like...
Isn't that sort of what it is?
Well, like, in the...
Well, I think, like, conceptually and backstory-wise, it's really similar with, like, the whole...
Right.
Like, it had been people who had... It was, like, the people who had tried to seize the power of the Triforce and were, like, cast into a different world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then...
And, like, Midna comes to our world seeking a way to save hers.
Exactly.
Then comes to care about both worlds.
Thanks for literally describing what I was thinking without me having to do it. I was, like, really struggling. Yeah, exactly. Because like Princess Zelda,
functionally
like,
they're not very similar, but
no, but like story wise,
conceptually,
they're very. I think it's more similar. I think the structure of Hyrule and Lorule is more similar to Hyrule and the Twilight than it is to like Hyrule and the Dark World in the Light World and Dark World and Link to the Past. Even though like structurally in the game they're the same, they're almost 100% the same actually.
Yeah.
I don't know what percent, but they're very high. It's very high. The map is exactly the same.
So yeah, we got Link and Zelda, and we kind of have 2 of them this time because we've also got Ravio and Hilda. And then Gan is just kind of there to be a big monster in this one because like Yuga's the main personality of the villain, even when he merges with Ganon.
It's also like Zant, except Zant never merged with Ganon. It's just that Zant like was promised power from Ganon. But didn't end up getting it in the end.
Yeah, and they're both weirdos.
Yes. Except Zant still had his screaming or whatever, which Yuga doesn't have.
Yuga has a great theme.
Yeah,
though.
he's got kind
Good
of a
music.
high-pitched sound thing.
Yeah.
I love that he hums to his own music when he leaves the first time.
I think the music in this game was like stellar, just in general. But yeah, Yuga has good themes, and Lorule has a good theme. We'll discuss later, but I think Yuga's a good villain too.
Yeah.
But you have to have Ganon because
Of course.
So my favorite enemy was back. Oh,
Oh, the Moldorm.
yes. I saw someone in the comment. I think it was like the Zelda dungeon walkthrough, which I didn't need to use very much this time, but there was something I was looking at, and someone was like, I called that the hamburger monster, which is really funny because I always think that it does look like a hamburger.
It really does.
Yeah, like with the green.
Yeah, especially in
legs.
this one because he's got like little like bumpy things on top.
Yeah,
Looks like
exactly.
sesame seeds.
Exactly. He looks like a sesame seed bun with lettuce sticking out.
Mm-hmm.
I still fucking hate him, but at least
At least it doesn't restart your boss battle
No.
if he knocks you off the ledge this
yeah,
time.
that was a terrible.
so mad.
That was the worst.
And also, like the one in, I think there's two, right? Because there's one in one of the dungeons, and then there's one in Lorule Castle. And in the one in Lorule Castle, you can like stand on the ledge and just like throw bombs down, which is exactly what I did. I was like, I'm not getting in this room with you.
There's also one. I don't know if you ever did the Treacherous Ruins. Is that what it was called?
I didn't.
Okay.
Treacherous. I think it was Treacherous Tower or something.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I did that a bit. He's not so bad though. You don't have to hit him as many times.
Yeah.
It was. I think this whole game overall wasn't as hard as A Link to the Past, but like,
Yes, no, not at all.
yeah, in general, I had a lot more fun with this one than I did with like Link to the Past was fun and I enjoyed it, but I thought this one was so much easier and like the content amount was a lot better, at least for like my attention span.
Yeah,
Like the dungeons were.
Yeah, it's got like all the good parts of A Link to the Past
Yes.
without the like frustrating parts of A Link to the Past.
Yes.
And there's more like variety in dungeon design and stuff.
There is, and there because of the painting mechanic too. There's like also it's not just the same game again, and even like the items are pretty different.
Oh yeah,
And also you have like item rental, which is a thing. So it has
no ammo.
No
You have
ammo.
a stamina bar instead.
yeah. There's a lot more flexibility. Like you don't have to do all the because I think in Link to the Past it's like you go to one. Don't you go to like one of the dungeons and then it's like, oh, now you got to go to this other one or you got to go over here.
Well, they're numbered.
I think they're
don't-
Numbered. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
there's
know
a
if
few
you-
you could do out of order,
Mhm.
but some you couldn't, and then like, but all of these you couldn't do, and once you get to low roll, except for like you have to complete the one
can't
to
do
be
the
able to get
castle.
the sand rod and stuff, but
Yeah.
otherwise you can do them in pretty much any order.
Yeah, but yeah, most of them. I think that the thieves hideout or something you have to do to get something. And then like the sand to get the sand rod, you have to do the one. But then all the other ones, you can do whatever you want, which was really nice actually. I definitely didn't do them in the same order
Yeah.
that was recommended, and that I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I just kind of did them in whatever order I stumbled across them.
Pretty much, yeah.
I think we talked about how like or at least one of the complaints that people had about Skyward Sword was like it was super linear and that you have to go from one place to another exactly in order. Like you can do side stuff in between, but I felt like this game actually had a really good sort of like exploratory like aspect where you don't have to do them in a specific order. I don't think you even have to do the first three in a specific order, or the first two dungeons after you do.
Yeah, you can do them in either order.
Yeah. There's so you have
The
a lot of
ones to
options.
get the pendants.
Yeah, exactly, those two. So I think that's also convenient. And then with the item rental, it's like you can get whatever items you want, so you can also solve problems in different ways, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do miss out on like a difficulty curve with that situation, but it's like not like Zelda's ever had a really strict difficulty curve.
Yeah.
I think it's still fun though.
Yeah. And like I think there were like non-dungeon areas where you needed multiple items. So like they just instead of putting it in a dungeon, it's just to get side pieces. What do you call them? Collectibles.
I don't think that's what you call them.
Yeah, like extra items or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's still like limiters. Like there's still things that are limiting. Like you have to do this thing to get like you can't lift the big boulders until you do the one dungeon, and like you can't like the sand rod is a good example too. Like so there is still some things that you have to progress through. It's just not as hard and not as linear. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this game had a high difficulty curve at all, really.
No, there are definitely parts that were a bit challenging, but I don't think. Oh, well, actually, I played on hero mode because I had the game already beat once. So I was like, why not? That was a bit hard because you take double damage. Like the enemies in low rule do
They're
extra
hard.
damage anyways. So like it was definitely challenging in hero mode. So I think if you did it that way, you could get a decent challenge. Especially like I got lucky. I got the blue armor in the first dungeon I visited. and that definitely helped. But even then, like I was low on hearts, and it was a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could definitely make it more challenging that way. It was fun. But yeah, I think overall it was still pretty easy especially compared to like Link to the Past.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's some dungeons that were like, maybe the mechanics weren't hard, but they were really complicated. Like I'm thinking about the ice one, because you have to go. It's like hit a button here, and then like walk around and go up and down 3 floors, and then you can access the thing that you open with the button. You know what I mean? Like a lot of it is like.
Yeah, I think that one was the hardest.
That was one of the hardest.
I found Turtle Rock really hard because of all the teleporters, and I think I missed one. So I was just like, where is the teleporter I'm supposed to go to? So I had to loop around like 2 or 3 times before I figured out the right teleporter to get to the boss key or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was that I needed.
That one was harder. I did that one earlier though, and I didn't find it as hard, but
I found it a little confusing at first, but then I kind of like something clicked, and I was like, okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
Basically, I just had to like go through and make sure I went through each teleporter once to be like, which one am I missing?
Right.
Because there was one that I guess I kept not going through, which is the one I needed.
Right.
Yeah, but I think overall most of the maps were pretty easy enough, unique and cool.
Yeah.
And I think they did the dungeon design was excellent for the majority of them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the ice ruins, I found that to be so cool. I just remember I was doing that. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is cool. This is amazing. Oh my God, look at, and like, I kept getting more and more excited as like, cause like you could see all the levels below.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
You were going like inward and outward.
There's a little
like,
elevator.
There's a little elevator. The parts of the map were were just completely moving around. So like the rooms were completely different, and you'd come back and like, you'd get to access new areas and things. Like it was really like it was complicated in a way that like wasn't overwhelming, but it was just kind of cool to see it all fit together, and like how you're kind of like taking it apart and putting it back together, kind of like one of those 3D puzzles that you have to like I don't know, something like that. But it was cool. I don't know. I really enjoyed that map, and I think Turtle Rock was also a really cool idea. Like it was a very simple design. It's the shape of a turtle with like a center room and 4 rooms on each side. But then you teleport to each one, and like it's got 2 levels on each floor, so 4 levels. I don't know. But yeah, I thought that was another really cool design.
I did like the ice one. I also really liked the Dark Palace. Like I hated the Dark Palace. I liked the sneaking part where you had to go through the maze. And I liked there was some similar mechanics to like not Phantom Hourglass, to Spirit Tracks, where like the rooms were dark and stuff, but it was like sometimes you go into a room and you have to turn the light, you have to like turn the blow the torch out, and sometimes you had to light it and stuff. It was very interesting. I liked that.
Yeah.
The puzzles in that one were good.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I liked navigating that one very much, but I really liked the aesthetics of it, like when you like turn the lights out and there's like the glowing image of the Gemasaur King, whatever it was on the front, dinosaur. And like the paths would show themselves and stuff. It was just really cool looking.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. And then like the not Swamp Palace, the Skull Woods one also had the part where you have to go outside, just like A Link to the Past, but it was like so much easier. I think like
it was,
so it was still cool that you had to go in another dungeon. Like they kept that concept, but it was just a lot more straightforward, which was nice. But yeah, they all had good mechanics, and like different things. And then they also like, I think like the picture turning into a picture Link and like warping into the wall and stuff could be something that you like. It could become not used easily, but like I feel like every dungeon had incorporated things where you had to like turn into a picture and like cross something or like I don't know. I thought that
they found a lot of cool ways to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like there were quite a few places where I was stuck. I was like, what am I supposed to do? Oh, I can merge with a wall. Let me see. Was there something I missed there? And that was it.
Yeah, I did that a lot at the beginning where I'd be like, well, I'm stumped. I can't cross this 4-foot gap. What do I do? And then, and then after a while I'd be like, oh, I can just merge with the wall. And
the very first
move a couple feet over and pop out again.
At least the first thing that I did was go to the like witches, check to see if the witches hut was there. which it was. And then I was like, oh, I'll go and check because I think one of the dungeons was like in the water. And I was like, I'll go see if you can get the flippers or whatever from the Zoras. And so I went to try to go that way. And there was like there's the hint ghost. I was trying to figure out how I got there. And it wasn't a hint ghost. Maybe there was an NPC or something that was like, boy, I wish I had a special power to go across this gap. And I was like, me too, buddy. And like walked around for like a long time. And then it was like, oh, I can just merge with I think then I had talked to the hint ghost. And the hint ghost was like, maybe you try merging with the wall, ? And I was like, oh, right. I do have a special power. I just like totally forgot.
Yeah, there's like a Zora NPC there who's like, the bridge is out and I can't swim. You can't swim either, huh? I guess we're both stuck here. There's no way to get across this gap.
If only I had special powers to get across this gap. Yeah, I liked the hint ghost. It was really funny. And also, like, because I haven't used this 3DS in years, I have like 300 play coins. So it's like, I can ask for as many hints as I want, which was like 2, but it was still fun. And I like that the hint ghost is like...
the play coins like a currency used across multiple games?
That was those were the play coins from Street Pass. Or like you could use them in Street Pass games, and like you get them by walking. You only have to walk like
yeah.
I forget. It's like not very...
I forgot they were cross game currency.
Yeah,
I thought it might have been like a kind of unique to this.
No, it's like console currency, and like and you get it from walking around. It's like based on the pedometer aspect of the Street Pass thing. But yeah, I have the maximum amount. And even though I used a couple, I still ended up with the maximum amount later just from carrying my thing around while we were traveling. So, yeah. I didn't get any street passes, though. I was sad about that. But I'm not surprised. Anymore. I don't know. It might not work anymore. Yeah. The network might be gone now.
Yeah, I think the network's...
because wasn't that a local, like, it was just... because it didn't use like a wider range. It was just the DSs would communicate to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it works anymore since they disabled everything else.
Yeah, it still might not be supported. I'm not sure. Right. But I did try it.
Because nobody carries their 3DS around anymore.
Yeah.
Only me for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
While I was playing this game. And then after a while I was like,
they were like
battery.
But yeah, they're like characters in Kakariko Village who were like enthusing about the like Street Pass whatever thing, and I was like, buddy, I don't know how to tell you this.
Like, it's 10 years in the future. This doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, at least I could still get hints. That was fine. It was worth it. But I don't know if you use the hint ghost, but it would be like, first of all, you have to use a special item to see them, which is funny.
Yeah.
And then it's like the hint ghost looks up from its book and then gives you a sassy hint, and then at the end it says the hint ghost looks back at its book or whatever. Like, why is the hint ghost reading? We'll never know. So many questions. I think there's also a fortune teller who I did not talk to, but the fortune teller is also there too. So.
Well, I think you talked to him once because I'm pretty sure he gives you the thing to see the hint ghosts.
I thought Irene gives you the thing to see the hint ghost, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I remember that.
I think it was the fortune teller.
Okay, maybe I did.
No, she just gives you the bell so you can summon her.
Yeah. Or just her broom.
Yeah.
Most of the game.
Yes. Yeah, it was so sad when she was gone. And I was like, oh, I think I know why she's gone. And I wanted her to be the first one because I was like, oh, well, then she'll come back and I won't be just...
No, she's trapped in the sacred realm.
She's trapped in the sacred realm. But she was also the last one I ended up saving. I was so mad about that. Because at least when you do save her, she does still talk back to you.
Yeah, she does. She does talk back to you. She sasses you from the sacred realm. Yeah.
I forgot that she was one of the sages, and like at first I thought it was just a gag when the broom shows up. Like, but then it kept happening, and I was like, okay, this isn't random events, and I was like, oh right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when the broom showed up, I was like, oh, she's probably a sage. But also right at the beginning where the mom is like, oh, I can't find Gully, I was like, oh man, he's probably a sage. And then I went back and told her later after I saved him, and she was like, I'm going to make his favorite dessert. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, lady. Like, he's not coming back from the sacred realm. Like, unless they did in the credits, but I don't remember.
Yeah, they all come home at the end, which is nice because I'm slightly distraught about the sages in Ocarina of Time.
Same. So. That's exactly what I was worried about. And I couldn't remember what happened in Link to the Past. Like, I think they all got freed eventually, right? So
wasn't there one where like you saw the lights all like shoot out and like travel with you or something? So like they were spirits or something in one of the games now? Am I wrong?
I think you're thinking about maybe Ocarina of Time.
At the ending, they all like turn into lights.
They turn into ghosts.
While they're watching the party and stuff.
Yeah, there's like the big party at the end, and they're all just like chilling, and you're like, oh, you're still ghosts. At least I was. Cosmo, I thought you played that game so many times. I guess you probably don't watch the credits. time.
Yeah, especially because like most of it is through the randomizer, which just skips all the cutscenes.
Yeah, I would be annoyed if it skipped the credits. I just saw a thing today that was like, Netflix let me skip the credits every time, like a tweet that somebody was complaining, and it's like, never let me skip the credits every time. What the hell's wrong with people? I want to see the intro song. Anyway.
Yeah, sometimes that pops up on something with a really good opening theme. I'm like,
Absolutely
first of all, how dare you?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Oh yeah, I was I made a list of all the instruments because we were talking about how hard the pan flute was or whatever last time. And this one technically does have an instrument, which is a bell to call Irene, but there's no other instruments. Which is fine, it doesn't really matter, but I just thought it was funny. I enjoyed the item rental a lot. We didn't talk about it in depth. I know we talked about it a little bit, but I really enjoyed that mechanic. I thought that was fun.
I like how they have little bunny ears on them while you're renting them.
Yeah. And then also he'll like come collect them. Shiro will come collect them when you die. And it's like, sorry, I gotta take these back. And I was like, damn it.
I like when he's first explaining it and he says like, Shiro will come and collect them while you lie there.
The dialogue in this is pretty funny from some of the characters. Ravio is a good one.
Yes.
And Irene is a good one also, I thought.
Yeah, when I was playing it this time, I was like, in retrospect, it should be obvious that Ravio is going to be the alt Link since he's got a bunny outfit on and Link turned into a bunny in the Dark World and Link to the Past.
For some reason, I thought that Ravio was like the character wearing the bunny ears or whatever in Majora's Mask. And then I was like, oh, wait, that's not... And then I like spent a long time Googling Majora's Mask. And then I was like, this isn't the same person. I'm just crazy. And I think I had seen Ravio before, through like, just a cultural inception, and somehow decided they were the same character. So when Ravio showed up, I was like, hey, it's that guy from Majora's Mask. And then I was like, wait, that's not true. Later. I did enjoy Ravio and his bag of money from me buying all of his equipment that he was stealing. And the last cutscene or whatever.
He just like takes over your house and like pushes all your furniture to the side.
You sign up out front. And then when you
sign on your roof,
when you warp, it's like your house. And I'm like, I think you should just go ahead and call this Ravio's house. Like,
Also in the house, I guess there is his money bag that's there. And if you go to it, he's like, oh, don't touch that. That is more important than my life. So don't touch.
I thought that at the end he was going to be like, I made us money to save Lorule. We can repair everything. I like literally thought that for a second. And then I was like, oh, okay, no, fine. They're going to restore the Triforce. That makes a lot more sense. But I was like... Because he shows up with the money bag, like, as if it's important, and implies that it's important if you try to touch it. So I was like, I'm not trying to touch your money bag. I just want to warp into the wall with this little Majora's Mask and play around because I think it's funny. I was like, hee, I'm an evil demon, hee. And then, as you do.
Do love the idea of Ravio being like, I can't allow this plan to go forward. I know, I'll have a fundraiser.
Like a bake sale.
Yeah.
Except with weapons.
Yes.
Oh, I thought the whole... like mechanic of turning into a painting, especially the fights with Yuga, where there's also like lightning coming out of the walls and stuff. It reminded me of the Forest Temple in Ocarina of Time, where Ganon's like jumping through all the paintings.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I thought that was cool and / terrifying. And I was like, that was the thing. That was the fight that was the worst. That was the hardest one, I think, in probably all of Ocarina of Time, except for the end. I did that a couple times at the end.
I think my favorite boss fight use of the painting was the skeleton guy where you like merge with his shield and he's like, what just happened?
Oh yeah.
And then you like pop out behind him.
That was funny. I really enjoyed that. I was like, hee. Then you like tackle from behind. I thought you were going to say
and then he gets mad and throws away the shield.
Yes. I thought you were going to say the hand one where you make the hand punch the wall.
Yes.
I almost called it Master Hand every time we talk about it. Like the big, it has a name.
It was like
Wall Master,
like Knuckle Master something. I don't remember.
It has Master and something to do with hand, but not Master Hand. But yeah, I thought that fight was really funny. I mean, it was kind of annoying. It was hard, but it was really funny where he's like punches the wall and the hand is like dizzy. You have to you like have to bait him into hitting the wall. That was pretty funny. But yeah, merging into the shield and clawing on the back was hilarious. I enjoyed that. This game also had a good one of those mechanics where there was like two characters that you control because there's like the thief girl in the one part, and I thought that was cool. It was only moderately annoying as opposed to the hand from from like Phantom Hourglass or whatever, where there's like the hand following you and you have to like move the other person down the side of the room or through the room. It was one Phantom Hourglass or It was one of those DS ones, Phantom Hourglass or Sphere Tracks. Yeah, I can't. Maybe it was Phantom Hourglass, like one of the ones where you had to draw the path for Zelda in the Phantom or whoever in the Phantom. Must have been Sphere Tracks then. Anyway, yeah, it was kind of reminding me of that, where there's like 2-person puzzles, which was cool. Mm-hmm. I did also enjoy the trippy sequence where you go between Hyrule and Lorule. That was pretty cool. Yeah. Where it's like, woo, and you're all like, I like also Link's like animation when he's on the wall, where it's like kind of wiggly, like and then he's moving down the wall.
Like his little eyes like shift back and forth.
Yeah. Also, if he has like equipment, it's on the image, like especially the lantern, specifically the lantern. I remember seeing. I'm not sure about all of them, but I liked that a lot. I was like, oh, the lantern's on his hip. Oh, so cute. And his outfit changes or whatever. If your armor is upgraded, which is cool. One thing that I kind of missed that was like, I think better in Phantom Hourglass and Sphere Tracks was like, you have the map on the lower screen, but you couldn't draw on it. And I was like, such a missed opportunity. Although I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm the only one that missed it. But there was something where I would be like, oh, I want to go make sure that I go back to this room because there's a chest here and I couldn't reach it or something. Like, and I think it would have been really nice, but I guess I would have made
Yeah. They left the pins, and you can make different colored pins.
Oh, there's pins.
But that was only, I think, in the overworld. I don't know if that would be in a dungeon.
I don't even remember. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I did like that element of specifically Spirit Tracks. I think I used it extensively because like there's completely dark dungeon rooms and stuff like that, or like completely blank maps in dungeons. But yeah, I did enjoy that in those games, and so I was like, oh, I guess we're not doing that anymore. Oh well, that's fine. Oh, and because this game has like a circle pad instead of a D-pad, it's also a lot easier than the other one for walking around. You can like walk diagonally and stuff.
You drew the path anyway, but yeah.
Well, no, I meant compared. Oh, I guess because.
Oh, I guess to like Link to the Past and Link's Awakening. Okay, yeah.
Specifically, Link, because the version of Link to the Past that I played was on Game Boy Advance. However, I think the Super Nintendo didn't have a joystick, did it? I think it was still a D-pad.
No, it
was 4 buttons and a D-pad instead of 2 buttons and a D-pad like the SNES or the NES.
Yeah, I mean the enemies are pretty much all the same as Link to the Past. But,
yeah, there was like a couple exceptions, I guess. Like the guy.
A lot of the bosses. A lot of the bosses were at least inspired by the Link to the Past version. Although a lot of them were like variations on it. Like we talked about the Gemasaur King instead of the Helmasaur King.
Right. Sometimes the mechanic was a little different because the items were different, but like a lot of them were very similar, which was cool. The fucking Moldorm is the same. If they bring back
honestly,
Moldorm,
just not restarting your fight when he knocks you off the platform makes all the difference in the world. Yeah,
that's definitely true. Also, I hope they don't bring back Moldorm like enemies in Tears of the Kingdom. This is my prediction for the future.
Yeah, I don't think they really work in 3D, but
no, because I guess they have to be kind of flat. I can imagine a 3D Moldorm. That's hilarious.
Well, you really need a top-down perspective for that style of fight. So, I mean, they could have some kind of like fast-moving worm, but it would be a different mechanic.
I mean, they have the sandworms. I can't remember what they're called in Breath of the Wild.
They have the they have the sandworms in
and
Majora's Mask.
Oh,
which were kind of similar because they would fly up and they had like certain areas on their body that you had to shoot with an arrow. Yeah. So it was kind of similar. So instead of it being the tail, it was like the head, and then at one point, like, well, I guess it depends because the 3DS remake, you had to hit different parts of their body. Where I think the original. Was it just their tail? Or I don't remember. Something like that.
There's usually like a target. I think you're right that it's like it's a worm with a target that pops out of something. So I guess they do.
Yeah, I feel like. Yeah, I feel like it's something you could do.
Yeah, it's sort of different though. That's more of a like. I feel like the thing that pops out of the ground is different than the thing that charges all around erratically.
That's true.
Like
Yes.
Yeah, like those are two like types of enemies that exist.
Yeah,
and I guess they're kind of like wigglers and Mario.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. I don't remember what you're supposed to do to attack Wiggler, because the only game that I can remember with Wiggler is the like don't wake Wiggler mini game where you have to like pet Wiggler. But I don't think I've actually played a game where you had to actually attack them.
I think you usually like butt
jump
stomp
on them. Ground pound them. Yes.
Yeah.
Butt stomp. That's a better way to describe it.
It was always called butt stomp when I was a kid. Mario games, I don't know.
I think like in the instructions it's like do this to ground pound, and it's like no, I'm hitting this with my butt. I like butt stomp. That's definitely a more accurate description. Anyway, sorry, what were you saying, Cosm?
Well, gameplay?
Yeah.
Gameplay.
Other gameplay that we haven't talked about yet, I guess.
Yep. So it's another 2D top-down Zelda game, but I'd say the most 3D one yet. In that, like, again, a lot of the levels are very vertical. Even in the rooms, you have different levels. Some of them you are, like, your vision is obstructed because of the floor above you. A lot of places where, you know, like I'm thinking of, I think it was the Lost Woods dungeon where you have that master hand that will like slam down, and if there's a floor above you, like it'll hit a switch.
I thought that was actually a really good mechanic. I enjoyed that. I was like, good, do my bidding, you bastard.
Yep. Some areas like the descent from, not Mount Doom, Death Mountain, was, I mean, like, it's just a massive,
or whatever.
Yeah, a massive like vertical room where
that was sort of disorienting, where you have to jump down to all the platforms. And then I was like, maybe the 3D will make this better, and I turned it on, and I was like, it does not make this better. Turned it right back off.
And then somehow still the most 2D. Well, no, okay, I guess what is it? Zelda 2 is also very, very 2D, but you can merge into the wall. Very, very 2D. You can just move left or right. And I think that's about it for the major, like, gameplay uniqueness to it.
Yeah, I mean, like, you kind of have, like, standard items and stuff from
standard items, but yeah. So, but that's... Oh, and then there's as we talked about, you can rent items. You have the stamina bar.
Yeah.
Instead of ammo. And each dungeon has one item that you need to in order to get into it and to complete it. So you're welcome to do the dungeon with just that one item or with the full array, depending on what you've bought or rented. With that, you can go in any order pretty much, other than you need to do the first dungeon first, the next two next in some order, and then you have to just get the items to do, I think it's just the sand.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's very, very refreshing, I think. It really made the game open. You know, I could do as much as I wanted in exploring. I could go straight to the dungeon, all that.
Yeah, you can collect all the Mai-Mais that you want to your heart's content.
Yeah, I really like them.
Yeah. And then each dungeon, instead of having a major item, an active item, it had a major passive item, like an upgrade. So, like armor, or to upgrade your sword, or bracers to be able to lift more things. So each dungeon still had a unique item that you could miss if you didn't. You had to like really look for it. You had to go out of your way to find, you know.
Yeah, I didn't get the chest for the red armor in Lorule Castle. I just like forgot about it, and I was like, I'm done. And then I went to fight Hyuga, and I was like, I'm dying. I went to go check something, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot to get that. Why is this link in this tutorial's photo red? I'm concerned. That was important. But you get like you get the stamina increase, and you get a bunch of other things. Like you can lift heavier things from one of them, and the blue armor and stuff like that too.
So yeah, I really liked the it's a similar formula, but it really changed it, made it more refreshing. If they hadn't made Breath of the Wild, I feel like a new game following this formula would have been amazing, even if it was like 3D. Like I think they could have done a lot more, and then they just decided to do Breath of the Wild, which I'm not complaining about.
I think they announced Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild is kind of
in progress, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, Breath of the Wild is kind of similar in that you can do the major
That's true.
Yeah,
and you get
in
instead you just get all the items more or less early on right away.
I mean, you can access whatever you want. It's just whether or not you have like you're powerful enough to get them. Yeah. Like technically you can go anywhere and technically you can get any items. There's only a couple that you have to get. Like, don't you have to get?
Yeah, like you can run right to Ganon in your underpants if you want to.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. I guess
once you get off the plateau, you can do whatever.
And then on the plateau, I think there's like you have to get some of the stasis runes to get off the, or some of the runes to get off of the plateau.
No, you have to do all 4, but you can do them in whatever order.
Yeah.
Because the old man won't give you the paraglider until you do all 4.
Yeah. And then you can dive off of the thing and go fight Ganon at full health while he's at full health while you're in your jorts, if you really want to. Which makes speedrunning that game hilarious, but...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm excited.
With a tree branch in your underwear facing off against
You can do it in like 20 minutes or like 25 minutes or something if you really want. But then, like, conversely, I think I spent like over 400 hours playing that game.
Yes.
So
yeah, I'm looking forward to watching a speed run because I've seen that like 20-minute just get to Ganon and win.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to looking at like either complete all the Divine Beast speed runs or I don't know. I have to look at the categories, but that game looks like it'll be really interesting.
Mount percent. Y'all started playing it because like the next game that we're gonna play is Breath of the Wild. That's our next episode, and Kayla and Kazum finished this game early, and I'm like really envious of their time they've already spent being able to play Breath of the Wild. I think I'm gonna start playing it again tonight. That's my plan. Yeah. No matter how
cramming Breath of the Wild before Tears of the Kingdom comes out.
I think.
Breath of the Wild cram school.
I've already beaten it once. I wonder how fast I can beat it. If you can technically beat it in 25 minutes.
Yeah, I've never actually fully completed it. But
we can't beat it in 25 minutes.
Yeah.
But if one can beat it in 25 minutes, then like maybe you can defeat it in like 20 hours, which is like
I'm sure you
could. So I can beat it in a week.
Yeah, I'm sure you could do like a casual speed run pretty quickly. If you just go,
I think you can go pretty fast.
If you know like exactly where you need to go and stuff.
Like I already know where all the divine beasts are and everything, and then it's just like then you just power up, like get all the equipment that you want, like that you feel like whatever you feel like you need, and like get all the stuff that you feel like you need, like not potion, like food and stuff, and then I think you could kind of that's my plan this time is just to like kind of speed around it because I have literally seen every fucking corner of the map. I don't need to do that. It's fine. I'll be fine.
Yeah, I've never actually rolled credits on this game on
have fun.
Breath of the Wild because I've gotten all the divine beasts and like gotten like messed around in Hyrule Castle, but I always wanted to do other things before finishing it. So
I was always like, I want to
get distracted.
Everything. I want to find more Korra.
So my goal is to actually defeat Ganon before Tears of the Kingdom this time.
It was easier than I thought. Even for someone like me who's really bad at video games. So I was like really geared up. I had like a whole bunch of expanded my sword slots, and I had like all the big ones that you get from like the Hinoxes and a bunch of like food and stuff that I had made, and then I went in and then I was like, oh, okay. I did it.
Yeah. And the last time I played it, I played for the first time, and I bought the season pass for the DLC, but I had kind of tapered off playing it before it all came out, and so like the next time I played it, I was like, "Ooh, I have all this DLC I can play," and so I was playing like the
equipment,
Quest of the Trials of the Master Sword and the Champion's Ballad stuff. So I got all caught up in that.
Haven't gotten is the motorcycle though. Maybe I should do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough talk about Breath of the Wild. We should finish this episode about Link Between Worlds. But I agree with you that if they had made another game that was like a similar structure to this, where it was like you could go to the dungeons in any order and stuff, then I definitely would have been on board with it. That is more similar to this than to Breath of the Wild. But they made Breath of the Wild, so can't really complain.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I get the feeling that, and this could be proven wrong by the time this episode comes out, but I get the feeling that Tears of the Kingdom is going to incorporate a little bit more like classic Zelda stuff in Breath of the Wild.
I think some people were disappointed by the lack of classic Zelda stuff in Breath of the Wild. I don't give a fuck, but that's just one person.
Yeah, it still feels like, to me, it still feels incredibly Zelda, despite not having a lot of classic Zelda stuff in it. So, but I think I get the feeling I get from the trailers and stuff makes me think they're incorporating some of the old stuff too.
If they had like temples, I think that would be cool. I'd be down with that. Where it's like,
yeah. That's what I think is like the main thing. I think they might be incorporating is like more traditional dungeons.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah, I hope
We'll
these
see.
all
You
don't
guys
get
already
proven
know,
wrong.
but we don't.
No, we don't now. We will
You sound so bitter about that. You already know.
I'm bitter about
You
people
don't.
in the future.
Yeah, I'm mad at future.
How dare.
them.
How dare those future people
We only have to
already
wait,
have
like,
the game.
A week,
A
just
week.
over a week, basically.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Oh,
whatever.
that's why I don't want to work late next Friday.
I took Friday off. Not gonna lie at all. I did because I thought it would be fun. I was like, I've never been this excited for a game. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna go pick it up and play it immediately as soon as GameStop opens. That's what's happening on Friday.
I pre-ordered it, so
You guys and your
just depends on
physical copies.
when the mail gets it to me.
Nintendo has a horrible digital copy.
That's true.
I've complained about this before.
But, like,
The Switch is Wii. I mean, I know you can put more data on it, which I think I already have,
Yeah.
but
so small.
I always find like the games that I really like, that I'm like, I'm gonna want to come back to this a lot. I want to have it on my system so I don't ever have to like, where did I put that case? Or like I just moved. I moved like 2 or 3 years ago, and there were some games I don't remember what I was looking for. And I was like, I know I've seen it, I've had it somewhere, can't find it.
see, I always want physical copies for the games I really like, so that like
When they
I never have any problem with
self-reporting
like data being corrupted or some weird copyright thing happening, or
I briefly-
or system stop being supported and stuff. So
I briefly thought about getting a new 3DS, like a bigger 3DS, because I have the original one. And then I was like, but all of my things that are on here, because I bought Majora's Mask through the store, through the online store before it got canceled.
Oh yeah.
So, and then I have a cool Majora's Mask theme on mine, which I totally forgot about. That's a thing that you could have, because you used to have those like Nintendo like coins and shit that you could buy things with.
Yeah.
And so it
I
plays
think you
Majora's
can-
Mask music.
yeah.
I think you can
I'm sure
store
you can
that.
transfer the games. I'm not sure about all the other stuff, but I remember it was somewhat tedious though. But I remember doing it when I switched from a 3DS to a new 3DS.
We were talking about, I saw something, I can't remember what I was looking at, but I was asking my husband, like, oh, did the 3DS come with the SD card? And he was like, no, but we probably added them. And so I was looking at mine and I like jiggled it a little and the theme like disappeared. And I was like, so I think it's stored on there, basically. And then I restarted it and it was fine. But I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
I think
maybe
it comes with one, but it's like a really small one, because I think that might have been what I did actually with when I was transferring between SD cards. Was upgraded to a bigger one.
Yeah, I think you can
I
temporarily
just remember
store things.
some tedious thing where I was like putting a file on my computer to transfer to the new card. And
That's the other thing. All storage things with Nintendo things are also very tedious. So
yeah.
they're very anti pirating. So it's fine. It just makes having digital copies of games fucking obnoxious. So I'm like, you know what's easiest? Just buy the goddamn cartridge and it will always work. So that's why I bought the cartridge for Tears of the Kingdom.
Then you don't have to like download as much stuff and wait for it.
No, I'm going to buy it and plug it in and it's going to work.
Yep, and then it's going to be there.
Yeah, it's not like a PlayStation game where you buy the CD that's probably has nothing on it and you have to wait 3 hours while it installs the game.
True that. Oh, God.
What were we talking about in terms of...
Items now, I think. I don't know.
Well, I think we said they're different. Well, I mean, I don't know.
We were talking about the format of the game. Cause
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were finishing up the formula that they have, which is really cool. And I think refreshing, especially for the 2Ds. But I would have been happy if the next 3D had that formula as well. Let's see. Items. A lot of returning ones: bombs, boomerang, bow, light arrows, nets.
I like the big bomb
Hammer.
flower that you had to lead around, which isn't technically an item, but I thought it was hilarious. And it like hopped around.
Yeah,
it
it's
kind
like
of
a
like change
weird
on.
exploding like pet. Like,
Yeah. It's like, okay, just you can use the bomb flower.
like,
whenever
here,
you
boy,
want.
this way go, this way.
As for new items, there have been iterations of the fire rod. I don't remember how similar this one is to others. I don't actually remember what this fire... Does this fire rod just shoot a fireball?
It shoots like a
forward?
pillar.
It shoots a fireball that turns into a
Right.
pillar.
Oh, yeah,
because if you were above
yeah.
a grade, it wouldn't work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're up high, it'll fling the fireball like down if there's no floor or whatever.
That's right.
They were a little.
I
I
remember
think
that.
all of them were. All the items were like slightly different than before. Like
Yeah,
the fire
I
one was a
think
little
so.
different. The ice one like made ice in the air and dropped it down.
Yeah.
And then like the sand rod in what was the other? I guess it was Spirit Tracks or Phantom
Hourglass, I think. Yeah.
So like you draw on the screen and it just like expands the sand area that's up. And this one it had to be like a straight line.
Yeah.
And then it would kind of go like all the way across. It didn't have like a limit, and then it had a specific height. And so sometimes you could picture onto the sand, turn to a picture on the sand, and sometimes you could walk across the sand, which was interesting.
Yeah.
So they were all like kind of what I expected them to do, but not exactly the same as like in other games.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep. And then the tornado rod, which let you jump up in the air and stunned enemies nearby. The scoot fruit, the fun name, which is just another way to teleport back to the beginning of a dungeon. I never used it.
Me neither.
I don't think it leaves you a way to teleport back to where you left. It just brings you to the entrance, I think.
That's my understanding from the description, but I never used it myself, so I'm not sure. But yeah, I think it's just like you can leave the dungeon, but there's no like, then you can go back to where you were or whatever.
And then I was just about to say something. Oh, the hint glasses we talked about, a way to just see ghosts. They use the street pass money to buy a hint from a ghost that you saw. If you bought it and you didn't remember it and you had to talk to them again to hear it, it cost another coin. Found that out by accidentally skipping through the text, or like I think I like zoned out and was like, wait, what did he say? And I read it again. There are Mayamais, 100 of them. Can you believe it? These little snail crab? No. Snail?
Octopus.
Were they snails?
They're like octopus snail things.
Yeah, I guess.
Huh.
Because they had like a shell,
They're
right?
definitely mollusks of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mother Mai looked like an octopus.
Yeah.
She did.
And she just had like the little shell on as like a hat.
A hat.
Yeah.
But then the baby ones look like a little... like a hermit crab
like,
kind of thing.
Yeah, they're sort of combined between like a snail and an octopus. They were cute. That's what
they
matters.
were cute. They made their little eat noise. And
then when you find them, they chirp along to the
go dee.
The item gets out.
At first, so I played it a lot. I played the game a lot with the sound off because I was traveling, and it was like, oh, you might hear them squeaking, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then the first time I turned it on, I heard them. I was like, this is the cutest noise I've ever heard.
I'd like hear them and try to find them, and then I'd be like, there you are, you little dickens.
There was some where I was like, oh, there's a giant rock there that I need one of the big bracers for. I put a pin there, like, I'll pick it up when I find those bracers, which was also the last dungeon I went into. And then I went and it's like, it's not under there. And then I just pick up a small rock next to it that I could have picked up the entire time. It's like, oh, well, cool, thanks. Way to bait me, trick me.
There was one that I couldn't figure out how to get that was like a small rock on a roof. Like, you know what I'm talking about? There was one in...
Yeah, you needed to fly with a cuckoo.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that one took me a while to get to. I like came back to it like later and I was like, still can't figure this one out.
Yeah. It's like I've run into this building 5 times.
Yeah.
Oh, that
I
makes
keep
sense.
slamming my face into it.
Yeah. I've blown up this house. And then there's like the woman inside is like, I keep hearing this weird noise on the roof. And it's like, are you sure it's not me just running into your house? Oh no, I killed him.
So yes, there were 100 of them. And you get every 10 you got, you can upgrade one of your items from Ravio. They'd upgrade to do, something you'd typically expect. Like bombs were just bigger, had bigger explosions. The ice rod would drop 4 ices instead of just 1. The fire pillar traveled further. I don't remember. But
I don't remember what it did. I didn't upgrade that one. But the bombs got bigger, and the arrows turned into 3 arrows.
Oh yes.
And the boomerang did something else too. You didn't really have to use the boomerang at all, but I upgraded it. I was like, I must have to use this now since I haven't yet.
I don't think I ever bought the boomerang.
I just bought all of them. Like I said, that was my strategy because I was prone to death. So I just was like, I'm going to buy them. I'll grind for rupees. It's fine.
I like that the upgrades were called the nice version of whatever.
And then, the lamp and the net you could upgrade at the Treacherous Tower so that they would do damage.
Oh yeah, I was wondering about that because I think I saw in a guide that was like, and then use the lamp, and I was like, mine just like lights little torchies. It doesn't like hurt things, so I don't know. But I just used the fire rod. I was like, we set you on fire and set you on fire, set myself on fire,
And then, as I mentioned, each dungeon had upgrades. So you could get the Titan Mitt, ores to get your sword upgraded, different mail to increase your resistance. I think the healing shield was from one of the temples, and the stamina scroll. You could also get a bee badge, which made bees become your friend, and they would start attacking enemies whenever they appeared on screen.
That's pretty dope. I didn't do
the
that.
Pegasus boots.
Oh yeah, there's Pegasus boots. I didn't find a lot of use for them, except for running into trees looking for mime eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. There was a lot of like gaps. I don't know. I guess maybe you were supposed to use the grappling hook, but I was like, oh, you can run across gaps with these. And every single time I would plummet to my death. I was like, oh right, never mind. That was the other game, not this one.
Yeah, I think the Pegasus boots were optional, so I don't think they were.
Oh, okay, I see.
I think your little like stop animation. If you did that over a gap, you would still stop and then make it to the other side, something like that. Speedrunners, you know.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Speedrunners.
They figured it out.
I was like, I'm sure that people use this for speedrunning, for sure. But... And there was one there was one place where, I think it was Lorule Castle, where you have to walk down like a long like hallway where there's nothing, and I was like, I'll just be running. And I had to go there like 3 times because I kept dying, so. Pegasus boots.
Yeah, I did enjoy slamming my face into things to knock my eyes out, though.
Yeah. Most important usage.
And then, let's see. We talked about the Mayamais as collectibles. There's heart containers and pieces of heart as standard, which I'm very mad about because there was one I couldn't find. Like, I just didn't know where I left it. And I was like, I'm not exploring the whole map to look for it. So I gave up with 1 heart short of finishing it. There are monster parts that you can use to make potions at the potion shop. And you get the bell.
You can call your witch friend.
Yes.
Get a ride to places. And then she threatens you. Just kind of like Sundari threatens you the whole time. Like, I mean, I said you'd help you out, but like, don't you think you're using this a little too much? Like,
Yep.
I did go, aw, when you talk to the witch after she gets taken, and she's like, and she was just saying she had made a friend.
It's like, it's me, I'm the friend.
Yeah.
It's me. And then she's like, oh, well, no time to be blubbering. Let me make you some potions. And you're like, okay.
All right. And then I suppose speedruns?
Yee.
Yeah.
Tell us how they glitch through things or whatever.
Run some speed.
Yeah. So, well, I guess let's start with the times. Legend of Zahir has the any percent time for this game under normal mode, which is 1 hour and 21 minutes and 1 second.
Wow.
But that was
man, they got to shave off that last second.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
really need
Skitten, literally 4 days ago, has second place with a whole 11 seconds behind. So 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 12 seconds. But yeah. Let's see. Hero mode. 24 days ago, Skitten with 1 hour and 28 minutes exactly.
So like 3 months ago, whenever this comes out or whatever.
Something like that, yeah.
2 months from now. Anyway.
Yeah. But there's only 4 entries in here starting 3 years ago, so it's not a very contested category. Let's see. 100% on hero mode, Legend of Zahir again, with 3 hours and 23 minutes and 13 seconds. With second place at 7 hours, 40 minutes, and 1 second. Those are the only 2 entries, so I guess it's, again, not very contested. You can submit literally any time and have to take third place right now. Go for it.
Well, Kazim, if you find that last heart piece, you can submit.
I didn't record it, though. I don't know.
I mean, do you have to record to submit?
I mean, probably not, but also, like, they check to make sure you didn't cheat. I'm sure with my time of, 12 hours, they're going to be like, yeah, sure, whatever.
No one's going to hunt you down.
Yeah. So 100% for normal mode, Legend of Zahir, once again, with 3 hours, 1 minute, and 11 seconds. Also 4 years ago. Was that one hero mode? No, that was 8 years ago. And then, glitchless, Flora Berry, 18 days ago.
Oh.
2 hours, 13 minutes, and 58 seconds. Yeah, look at that.
Yours would also be glitchless. You should have recorded it.
Unlike previous games, I only watched the 100% speedrun. I did not end up going for a any percent as well. But it was really interesting, really fun. I watched, it was the Legend of Zelda here who had the majority of those records. He did it through the Games Done Quick, one of them a couple years ago. It was entertaining. I enjoyed watching it. Very informative, very fun, very interesting. I guess this is the last 2D game. It's kind of interesting how, like, pretty much all of them follow the same pattern of sheet. Basically, you want to glitch either through the wall or on the ceiling so you can transition to rooms without having to use the door, and you're on the outside of the map, so you can kind of really navigate to where you want to be inside the room, or go around the room to the next room to skip it. So this game, the way you do that typically is with the tornado rod, or jumping off a ledge and using the tornado rod while an airborne enemy hits you, causing you to knock up a little bit more in the air and get on the ceiling, or jumping down while the fire rod is the pillar is there, so you jump up, get hit, that boosts you up a little bit more, and it puts you on that ceiling. So that was used very often. Let's see. The speedrun started off. You immediately go into the mountain area, because you can do something similar where you jump off and you manipulate one of the birds to hit you, so it knocks you back, and you skip a rock that's blocking the way into the caves that lead up the mountain. You go through the first little cave, and you see the cutscene where the volcano shoots off, and then there are little rocks coming at you. And at that point, that triggers Ravio to show up in your shop. And set up shop, rather. So if you die, he's there. But there's also the regular Ravio who's like, hey, I saved you. Do you mind if I chill here? So every time you go back, there will be two Ravios in your house. One willing to sell you things, and the other wishing you good luck on your journey or whatever. So with that, you can get every item without doing the first dungeon, without seeing Zelda, without seeing Ceres. I was going to say kidnapped. I guess she gets kidnapped, right? 'Cause she turns into a painting and he runs off with it. So, paint-napped.
It's just the vehicle through the kidnapping. It's like it's not a difference between being kidnapped in a car or kidnapped in a truck, you know?
If they're conscious while they're in painting form.
Doesn't Hilda have the Triforce? So, I mean, maybe? I don't know. That's a good... Doesn't Zelda also yell? She's like, take the arrows or whatever while she's still painting.
Yeah, that's true. She does do that.
So, I guess so. And then Irene is able to... Oh, no, I guess Irene doesn't talk to you until she's not a painting anymore.
Yeah, but does she have control over the broom, or do you?
I think the broom just does whatever.
But is that her controlling the broom to bring it to you, or is the spell she placed on the broom?
I think the broom just likes you and it comes when called.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But yeah, Zelda talks to you while she's a painting, so it communicates with you somehow while she's a painting. But then doesn't she communicate with you while you're dreaming also? Zelda often communicates with Link through telepathically, so like
yeah, it's like
maybe it's her power.
Zelda just has like special Link talking.
Just wisdom powers. Yeah, she can talk to the hero or whatever. I don't know. It's a plot hole, Cosm. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, a lot of it is you go through. The majority of the skips are manipulating the 3D-ness and ending up on a ledge you're not supposed to be by jumping, getting hit, boosting up even higher, and you're somewhere you're not supposed to be. So like in the first dungeon, you use a tornado rod and get hit by one of the jumping statues, end up on the roof. You can skip about half of the dungeon there that way. You still have to get the main item in the upgrade item that's in the dungeon, but you skip a good portion of it. One dungeon is the thieves' hideout. The thief girl does not like cheats. She is an honest woman. The thief girl will not follow you through any sort of like cheated ways. So if you skip a door and like you go back in it through it, so it's locked from the other side, she won't come through it. So you can't skip any locked doors. You can't go through the wall and try and like transition some places you're not supposed to. You have to pretty much do that dungeon normally. Yup. There's a way to cancel the ending animation for a lot of your items, like the hammer or the rods. If you use the... Oh, yeah, something I didn't mention is there's a quick item change where you can, like, click the button and, like, scroll through the items without pausing.
Right.
So if you change the item while you're using it, Link will put it away. So it'll save a few milliseconds here and there, but it'll add up if you keep using it. There were other times where, like using the tornado rod, you would get hit just to end it a little early, things like that. A bomb on one of the elevator blocks and the tornado, while you're like, it's boosting you up, you get extra air and you can like literally just hit your head on the ceiling so hard you're in the next floor. As I mentioned, you can slide through voids. So like, you use the Pegasus boots and you stop, and that little slide, you won't fall. So you use that to get through gaps that you're not supposed to. You could beat the Desert Palace without even entering.
What?
Yeah. You can use the sand rod, and then basically the same sort of thing where you jump, get hit, get boosted, end up on the ceiling, and go around to the room that you go into. Because the boss battle is in the overworld. You leave the dungeon and you're technically in the overworld fighting the boss.
Right.
And then there's afterwards you go through like into a little room to get the painting. You can just go around it. But for 100% you need to beat the boss to get the heart piece.
Right.
And then you do need to enter the palace to get the Titan Mitts.
Right.
And then the Pegasus Boots mini game. There's in the very southeast corner, there is a guy who's like, hey, how about this? If you can run really fast, why don't you get to this point all the way up to the northwest by the miner's house? And if you get there within a certain amount of time, you get rewards. Mm-hmm. And so you could Pegasus Boots your way through and beat it normally. But if you teleport, they're like, hey, we saw you cheat. So doesn't count. Problem is, if you go to Lorule and then teleport to a weather vane there and then come back, it doesn't consider you cheating. So you can do that.
That's funny.
But again, for speedrunning purposes, for 100%, you don't, because you want to pick up Maiamais that are on the way that you wouldn't get otherwise. So you don't do that. Other than that, I mean, again, it was very entertaining. A lot of the same sort of similar tricks and things like that. Very good execution. The pathing is interesting because it's, again, you can like go wherever you want. So sometimes you have to backtrack. Sometimes you wait to do certain things until you're ready to do pretty much the entire area, so you don't have to backtrack. I recommend it. I didn't take as in-depth notes on sort of everything that you have to do as in previous games, but I think honestly, just I covered most of the very important stuff.
Good.
Yeah.
Did you employ any speedrun tricks while you were playing?
No, I generally watch the speedruns after I beat the game. Usually, especially because like I don't remember the game, so I don't want spoilers and stuff like that. I want to kind of experience it again. But also, after I see it, I'm like, oh, I should have done that. I wish I had done that. Oh, I wish I'd seen this first. So I don't know. Music, let's do it.
Yay. Yeah, it's gonna come as a shock to everyone that this music is mostly the same music as Link to the Past, obviously. But it was like orchestrated or remastered. Yeah, exactly. And then of course like things were added for like Yuga's theme and music for Hilda and like Lorule Castle. Interestingly, the person who's credited with, there was only one composer on this game, It's Ryo Nagamatsu. And he also was the sole composer for Triforce Heroes and also for the Link's Awakening for the Switch. So did a bunch of things for Zelda and also did some music for Mario Kart 8 and Splatoon 2 and 3. Not solely, but yes, has some additional, I guess, after this, but history with Zelda games. So it's pretty cool. And this one, we talked about how Skyward Sword used a orchestra, but the music in this game is sampled again. And there was a really interesting comment that I read. I will put a link in our episode notes. There was like a little, like a article with a quote from another article where he was talking about how like they didn't use a live orchestra because of the sound quality for that comes out of like speakers for the 3DS. Orchestral music produces a lot of like low sound that doesn't sound very good coming out of like a 3DS speaker apparently, so they specifically like arranged it to make it sound good for a 3DS speaker, which included not using a bunch of live instruments. So I thought that was interesting because obviously they had that capability. But the soundtrack is very rich. Like if you listen to it on YouTube or like you listen to it with headphones, like not through the 3DS, it is a very nice soundtrack that has a lot of different like I don't know, depth in the sound, which is very nice. The new arrangements definitely have things that are added or like things that were toned down. Like you can tell if you compare the music between the two games, like from A Link to the Past and this, like you can tell that they're the same pieces, but like sometimes the music is like pretty different. So it's very interesting. Like one example is I really liked the Dark Forest and like the Dark Temple or the Dark Castle or Temple or whatever it's called, and the Skull Woods Temple music, and they're like similar, but certain aspects of the music are like the volume or like the type of instrument that it's intending to emulate is a little bit different. So I thought that was nice. Those were ones that I specifically liked. And then one very important thing is that the Lorule Castle theme is the Hyrule Castle theme backwards. All these people on their backwards music.
Yeah.
Which I definitely didn't notice while listening to it, but I will also share a video in the episode notes. I might edit the sound in, whatever. Let's see how I feel when I edit this. But I'll definitely put a link. In there. I'll put a link in the description that has a link to this where you can hear it very clearly. There's a specific the way that the person made this video on YouTube really helps make it clear which part is coming from the Hyrule Castle theme. So it's pretty cool. Oh, and then the other thing that I noticed I want to talk about was like, there's also a sound effect or like the music is different when you're painting. So the sound's kind of like muted when you warp into like a painting into the wall, which is pretty cool. Not just the effect when you're going through, which has a whole different sound effect or whatever, but like in a trippy visual sequence. But the music kind of is like muted and it has this sort of like effect that's applied on it, which is pretty cool. And then Link also has this like wiggling noise, which I already mentioned, but I enjoyed it when he's like walking as a painting or whatever. Those were the main things that I noticed I wanted to talk about this time. I don't know if there was like particular places that y'all liked or like, I don't know, something you're happy to hear again from Link to the Past.
The Dark World theme always gets stuck in my head, so I enjoyed hearing the new version of that one.
Yep. It's always a good one. And I'm always a fan of Hyrule Castle theme too.
Yeah. I think like it's nice to hear like the same pieces again, but like the amount of like instrument types and stuff in the sampling is very different, and there's like a lot of richness. Like, and also things that are kind of funny, like partway through the Kakariko Village theme, then the part of it, the instrumentation is like it's something sounds kind of like recorders, like this like woodwind sound, which always sounds really charming to me and funny. So I don't know, it's kind of funny. And even if it's like the same melody or something, there's expanded parts or something in it, so it's been updated nicely.
Yeah, it's something I enjoy about the Zelda series in general, is just hearing like old tracks get reused in new ways, like whether they're like just straight like reorchestrations or like a little bit of this song is in like this later song and stuff like that. So
I mean, I do like the soundtrack for Breath of the Wild. Not to talk about Breath of the Wild again, but I think like that's the one thing that people also really complained about being missing from it was like there's no dungeons and there's no music, which is definitely valid criticism, I guess, if you're like a fan of those in the series. So
yeah.
Like Breath of the Wild definitely has some songs that are really good.
Yeah.
but I feel like it doesn't have the wide of a soundtrack. You know, a lot of the songs are more like ambient and atmospheric, which is they're good, they work, but like, I mean, if you compare it to just how good some Zelda music is, it's just I feel like I feel like there was missed opportunity. You know,
I mean, nothing can
potential.
beat do 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 do. That got the Goron King out of his funk. There was a whole dance sequence for that.
Yeah, I think the Breath of the Wild soundtrack works for its mood.
I agree.
But they also have a couple of nice little like callbacks to older tunes, like
The Hyrule
you can
Field
hear
music has stuff.
Yeah, you can hear like you can hear Cass playing the what do you call it? Epona's theme at the stables and stuff on his little accordion, and then like
the Rito
Hyrule
Village
Castle
theme is really good.
Yeah, and like the Hyrule Castle theme is incorporated in the King's theme and stuff like that. So
it's definitely there. It's just way more subtle than even in like Twilight Princess and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like it was good.
It was good. The visuals are also obviously similar to Link to the Past. Like there's the map with the two different overlays. And apparently in Link to the Past, which I don't think I mentioned before, but it is like literally sprites that are overlaid on the same map, and it's just like the visual style is different. So they actually have a whole separate style for that. But yeah, I don't know how it's executed. Oh, one other visual thing that's important that I didn't mention is this game can be played in 3D.
Oh yeah,
because it's a 3DS. It makes it never works that well for me personally, but you can turn on the depth, and there is substantial depth in some rooms, like specifically the Death Mountain, like you mentioned earlier, Cosm. That was one that was like, whoa, this is going to be cool, and I was like, I don't like that. But yeah.
In general, for 3DS games, I like turning it on during like cutscenes and stuff, but I turn it back on to play.
I don't know if it's just my eyes, but like the thing is that it's a handheld console, and like my hands don't stay in exactly the same position at exactly the correct depth and with the screen at exactly the right angle to like support the 3D perfectly. So for this game at least, definitely, but I don't know other ones.
Do you have
as
an
well.
original 3DS?
Yeah. It's less stable.
Yeah, they improved it. Yeah, they improved it somewhat for the new 3DS. But
I think the newer ones.
I remember having.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember having to hold it at like a specific, like,
viewing
arms
angle.
arms length away
position from your eyes. Yeah, I think the new 3DSs and like the bigger ones have like a wider range in which the 3D can be viewed at. Like it has like a wider angle and stuff. But
it's a pretty fascinating thing. Like it's still something that kind of blows my mind that it works. Like,
wow.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing in this game that like is specifically like impacted where you have to like use the 3D functionality. I don't think any games have that. Any 3D
yeah,
games
there's
have
hardly any. I think there's a couple that like can make some of the like platforming easier, but if it works for you. But I don't think there's any that really require it.
No, I think it would.
Some
be
of them
cool.
don't even like have much to it. Like there's some I'll play around with the slider and it's like it's barely there even when it's all the way up. So.
Yeah, I don't.
I think this one had a pretty good amount to it when I turned it on for the cutscenes a couple times, but
it did. Like it's
definitely not necessary to the gameplay in any way.
No, maybe on purpose, but normally like there's other.
I think Nintendo's just really, really wanted to make 3D games for a long time, like because they had that Virtual Boy disaster back in the 90s.
I was reading about it. I think they also had a 3D goggle thing for the Famicom or Super Famicom.
Right?
So.
Yeah. I think
they've tried to do 3D for a long time. I think they tried to do it on the GameCube.
Maybe.
Did they?
Yeah, because I think I've read about like they were going to have it involved in like Luigi's Mansion and stuff, but they wanted to.
Was it a project that was scrapped, or did they actually release anything?
I don't think they released anything, but like they originally like wanted to incorporate it.
Okay.
I feel like even especially
I think like
back
the cost of like 3D TVs and what you would need to incorporate, what you would need to like package with the game was too much. So
the market,
but they've wanted to for a long time.
Was so low also. I mean, like, nope.
Yeah.
They were, I was going to say that was that, and this console and stuff was all around the time in which people were like, whoa, 3D TVs are going to be the thing. And then, no, probably nobody has them. I don't know. Probably something.
Yeah, Nintendo really made the only, like, practical 3D entertainment system.
That's because it's completely encapsulated. Like, the whole, because, like, you can't just be like, oh, and then you have to buy glasses, and then you have to have 3D movies, and you have to have this and then. It's like, that is way too much commitment for me to casually... Yeah. Like if I get on a, you know, like a ride at an amusement park that has 3D glasses and it's like, okay, we get the glasses, but like they're maintaining all the equipment. If you have to have all that set up in your own house, it's like, okay, the consumer adoption is going to be low. Like, I don't know. And then like the
you can't
content
just dump them in
it.
a bin at the end.
Even like 4K hasn't really been adopted that much, I think. I don't know, but like have you bought a 4K movie? No, you just stream all your shit on Netflix, right? Like, I don't like. It's very.
I mean, I bought them, but only because I was forced to, because it was like the only release was like 4K DVD.
Like, I don't care.
Okay, I guess so.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Nintendo. I think 3DS, definitely the 3D capability was like successful in that people used it, and you can use it really easily and stuff. But yeah, it's not I don't think it's a main selling feature of this game or any game, but it was cool. Yeah, I think the augmented reality thing was the cooler thing that they did, which isn't impacted by this game, but or this isn't used in this game, but that was cool.
Yeah, cool. I mean, they eventually released a non-3D version of their 3D console. Yeah, 3DS, so
because people were like, "Oh, my head hurts when I play this for more than 2 hours at a time," and it's like, okay, so don't or don't turn the 3D
slider on it. Turn the slider off.
Turn the slider off, and they're like, "I don't want my children using 3D," and it's like, okay, so turn it off then. Like, I don't know. I all the things like that are always so crazy, but. I mean, if they were able to sell consoles, then it's like, well, fine, manufacture them, I guess. Like, good for you as a business.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it wasn't a bad thing to have out there because it was cheaper and like sturdier if you were going to have young kids playing it and stuff.
Yeah, it was basically a doorstop, which is also, I mean, whatever. But
I think I bought one for like one of those like Christmas tree tag things where you like pull a name off a tree one year.
Oh, and somebody wanted a 2DS. Yeah. But. You know, I don't know.
I was like, that's actually a reasonable price.
You're like, I will buy you a 2DS because I want you to be a nerd. Every time there was like a children's toy drive or whatever, I'd be like, I'm buying the Legos and like the board games or whatever. Anyway, not super incorporated in this game, but it was a thing the 3DS had. And then the other thing, actually, speaking of technology that the 3DS had that wasn't used, it didn't use the stylus in this game. And didn't use the microphone, which is 3DS also has, and didn't use the gyroscope. So I guess because it's a remake of Link to the Past, like they didn't really do that. And then they had their like the painting mechanics, so maybe you don't really need others. Because I think the stylus and stuff were kind of like, and the microphone were like the main mechanics, and some of the main mechanics in Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. So and driving the train.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard to incorporate gyroscope aiming in a 2D game. So,
although one of the games that I had for 3DS was Spirit Camera, which used like all those things because you like it uses augmented reality because ghosts like show up in your house or whatever, and then it's kind of like Pokemon Go where it's like augmented reality and you like point the cameras around and like you can like rotate all the way around in your seat and like see in 360 and stuff. So that's part of the game, but. So other games did use those gimmicks. This game just doesn't, which is fine. I don't think it would be better for using those things. No. But anyway, sorry, what was I saying? Visuals. So yeah, it's similar to Link to the Past in terms of like the style, but it's also obviously higher definition because it was a 3DS. I don't know exactly what the definition of 3DS was, but the visuals are nice. One thing that I learned that was interesting, which seems obvious in retrospect, but I actually saw like a image on the Zelda fandom wiki, which I will also link, is that the sprites, like all the images and stuff on the screen, are actually slanted, not flat.
I've seen that image.
Yeah, and so when you see them, because like the 3DS the visuals are 3D, right? So when you see them rotated, like sideways, they're all kind of like leaning back, and that's what gives them that sort of like characteristic 3D, not 3D look and feel. So that was something they experimented with in this game. And then obviously like this one, I think was the first one of those type. I mean, like, I guess I guess the 2DS one, like, sorry, 2DS, the DS games, they were approached in a different way, but like I'm thinking like this game and Triforce Heroes and the new Link's Awakening for Switch that employ this style. I think this one was kind of the first one, so I think it was kind of experimental at the time to be like they got to be leaning back a little bit. These sprites, they can't be completely flat. So it's pretty funny.
There's like an interview like going along with that where like one of the creators was like, if it was just like straight top down, all you'd see of Link is a green hat.
His hat, yeah, his little head, for sure. And like even the Link to the SNES game or whatever isn't completely. It's not completely flat and it's not completely top down, right? It's like also kind of a mix, at least in the way they represent. Like it's not like top down like Pong. Like it's like, and it's not like flat like Super Mario 64 or not 64. Wow, like Super Mario Brothers, right? Where it's like flat side scroller. It's like something in between, you know. It has like fixed perspective, so. But yeah, it's funny when you see the visuals. I will share a link. And then there's the painting. The painting aesthetic itself is different, obviously, because it didn't exist in A Link to the Past, and so you have this kind of like flat design. If you have access to, I think it's Hyrule Historia, one of those like those official Nintendo books about Zelda, there's some concept art for like what Link should look like as a painting, like what the painting aesthetic should be, and it's very charming. They're like, ooh, should we do like modern? Should we do like impressionist or whatever? Like, so they had to decide what like the aesthetic of those paintings would be, which is this kind of similar to Toon Link style, but not exactly. Like flat kind of style, almost like graffiti. I think it looks like graffiti.
Yeah, it's similar to the like the tapestry at the beginning of Wind Waker. That like tells the story of Ocarina of Time and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But it's charming. Anyway, those are
really
my
like
visual things I want to point out. The painting style especially is cute.
Yeah, I think the 3D models are kind of ugly, but the painting style is really cute.
I did see a comment because I was like looking for some information about the music, and I saw the Reddit thread that was like, let's talk about the music for Link Between Worlds, and people were like, it's great, I love it. And one of the comments was like, except it's the fucking ugliest game I've ever seen or something. I'm like, I don't disagree. Like, I don't think that I think like it's not like, I wouldn't say it as extreme as that person. Like, I think some of the other approaches that Nintendo did in this style are like cuter. Like, I think Triforce Heroes in particular is like really cute from what I remember. And this is kind of in between.
I mean, it's fine. They're not like bad graphics. I just don't find the characters super appealing compared to
That's fair.
other Zelda games.
It's not as cute as like Toon Link, but it could have been like Toon Link. If you're going to kind of go that style, and then not as like, I don't know how to describe this aesthetic, but I guess more like serious, kind of less like cartoony or whatever, like in the original, like in Link to the Past. I don't know. I agree they're not super compelling, but I think the painting aesthetic is cute. And like the painting little visual and stuff, his little animation and stuff is really cute and fun.
Yeah. And the Mai are cute.
Yes,
everything about them is cute. Someone did a really good job with all the little Mai noises. I do like that they squeak with the like do 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 do. It's really fun. I was like, oh, you know what the people want, which is like extra confirmation. And they used all the standard sounds this time, which sometimes they don't, and then I get mad when like the key noise is different, and I'm like, how dare you, or whatever.
Yeah.
Nintendo's really good at auditory feedback. Like all their sounds are really satisfying in like every game.
Yeah.
I think especially the Zelda games have a very strong like history of like sound effects being integrated into the soundtrack well, and like really clearly communicating meaning well and stuff, and accompanying your actions well as a player. So it's nice. I thought this game was cute. I had fun, and I think the dungeons were the right length this time, because I remember getting kind of tired of playing Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think they were a good length, and I think there was enough to do in between them. Where Link to the Past, I feel like there just really wasn't enough between going from one to the other. I don't think exploring there was enough there. Like,
I also always kind of got lost or couldn't get from point A to point B. I remember in Link to the Past, and here it's like I think there are still some obstacles, or like you have to go to Lorule and then back or something to get to specific areas. So like I think there's still some challenge, but I think a lot of the just like stupid like I can't cut this bush down or whatever, like things from Link to the Past and also in like Link's Awakening, games like that like was not present in this game, which was nice. It wasn't so restrictive, or like you had to find the one little path to get to the next area or whatever. But still retain the same like vibe, and I would go to a place and be like, oh good, like the witch's hut's still here, like oh like this thing's still here, like that was nice. I liked that aspect.
Yeah, it's like I think The Link to the Past was so early in the series, like they were still figuring out how to like appropriately signpost how to play the game and stuff. So
it was like the third game. That's like the first episode that we had. I think it's the third game. Yeah, because it was for SNES. So.
Yeah, it was Zelda 2, and then
Link to the Past.
So.
Yeah. So, I mean, home video game consoles were fresh back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's still the early Wild West days where you could do whatever the hell you wanted.
The game came out in like 93 or something, so I forget exactly. But I think this was a really fun... Like it was nostalgic. It retained all the kind of nostalgia value, but still made it fun and like approachable for people like me who don't want to fuck around, getting stuck behind, trying to get from one place to another or whatever. So, and for people who want to do things like in their own order and kind of like figure things out on their own and like test stuff by having like the items and not just be given each item, be like, oh, I guess this is the item for this dungeon or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It did. I think encourage people to play the game their own way, which is also nice, which not all Zelda games do that. I think most of them don't.
Yeah. I think one thing I do miss from, I guess, kind of back in mechanics, one thing I do miss from like things being in a certain order is that like you can kind of build on like multiple items that the player will have for puzzles, which I don't think Zelda did all that often, but like if you can go in whatever order you want and have whatever items on you, except for the one required item, it means like all your puzzles have to be based on that one required item.
Yeah.
And you can't have like other stuff in there unless you provide it. Like they've got those little bomb enemies that they can
do to
have bombable bombs. Bombable bombs.
Bombable
walls.
Bombable bombs.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that even still there were some very interesting puzzles, like to get one of the items where you had to like hit a switch and it caused an elevator to go up, but also the wall on the other side of the elevator to flip.
Yeah.
I think that was in the dark.
Yeah,
Tower.
there's still lots of like I never felt like they're like bored from this or anything. It's just an aspect of the games I do like when they do is like to build up or use like multiple items in one puzzle and stuff.
Yeah, and there's a few places in the overworld or like stuff like that where you would need multiple items, but definitely not to the same extent that you typically expect from a Zelda game.
Yeah, like they had those little like caves with the treasure hunter guys that would usually require
it would be like,
a couple
how
of
am
items,
I going to get across here? I don't have a hook shot. And you're like, good thing I do. Or whatever. Yeah, and it's nice. It's like, oh, even if my stamina thing is low, then I can also use the bomb in this room, or I can like do something else probably, like the bomb enemy in this room, or I can like maybe try shooting the thing instead of using a bomb, or maybe I can do, like there was options. So you could try different strategies, which was nice as a player, instead of being like, obviously I must bomb this because I just got the bombs, So yeah. I think there was just a trade-off in the puzzle style when you do it that way, instead of like the way that you're describing, Kayla, where it's like you're building up. So it's like, okay, they definitely have these two weapons, so like now we can combine them or whatever,
Yeah.
Now it's like you could do it this way, you could do it that way. So I thought it was a fun game. I enjoyed it. I thought it was the right amount of content and the right length, and the story was good, and like there was the right amount of like drama in the story too, where there's like, or the right amount of kind of like tension where there's like a person that's set up to be as the bad guy, but then there's like a little twist and everything too. So there was also that kind of had everything good from a Zelda game in a very small package, which is nice.
I think they stuck with the theme pretty well too, with like the similar but opposites. Because like you have Hilda, who is similar to Zelda in a lot of ways, who wants, like she's still good, but like trying to find what's best, and is sort of a like has a lot of the same personality traits that you would expect from Zelda, but like she hadn't thought it through as well. She's a bit more willing to put the other Hyrule more at risk for her own sake. I think Ravio, as the hero of courage there, I think it's like definitely courageous to go against the people that you care about and like oppose them, because you like being true to your values, I think, is definitely a form of courage that's different than like what you may see from like Link being more just brave
and slamming your face against the wall.
yeah, exactly. And then I thought Yuga, as opposed to like Ganon, kind of, I don't know. I feel like that was a bit harder for me to sort of see the difference. But like
Yuga's kind of a lame villain, but then when it's revealed that Yuga was working for Hilda, then it's like, oh, okay, you're just like a minion. But then like once Yuga's also given the power of like Ganon or whatever, then they become more threatening. So
yeah. I think he's sort of like if we're talking about like the essential aspects of the characters that they're paralleling, he's sort of like a control freak version of power, because like he's talking about like the like perfection and beauty that he wanted to like establish and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like he's like, I want power so that I can make this world exactly how I want it to be. Like,
yeah. Because as opposed to Ganon kind of being like, I want everyone to like serve me or whatever, which is usually what he wants.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think.
You think? Where did you rank this game? Can we talk about ranking? Did you think about it?
Well, first, before we do that, I just want to gush. Well, I mean, I think talking about visuals, and we talked about this before, but the Tower of Hera and the Ice Ruins, especially, I found that like the verticalness and like the detail as you see the map below, and like I just found both of those maps to be very cool, especially
that was fun
and visually pleasing.
I assume that's also because like 3DS has more like rendering power too.
Like,
I think one of the other, I think it was specifically Link to the Past, where it's just like you can kind of see the dungeon floor texture like below sometimes.
Yeah, that was like an aspect I thought was pretty cool and ambitious in Link to the Past, but like just definitely feel like reaches its full potential in this version.
Yeah. Where you see exactly below what's down there and where you're going to land, and so I thought that was very cool. I think also, I mean, the springs that you use to jump, you like hit with a hammer. I'm pretty sure they've been used before, but I feel like just it really worked well in this with how 3D you can be.
You're supposed to be moles, apparently.
Oh, really? They just look like buttons with faces to me.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But yeah, I think like with some parts of the map where it is fully 3D, so you're not like you're in the same room, you're not transitioning as you go up and down. It's just one giant tall room. Whereas in the other games, like they wouldn't have that depth. It would all, well, I guess you kind of do with like climbing Death Mountain, where it's all like kind of vertical that way, but. Definitely, you see it a lot more in this game, and it's implemented very well. And I mean, the console has the capabilities to do it, which definitely helps to them being able to implement it. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Having processing power has definitely made video game graphics and sound substantially better. So your rank, your thoughts, or should I go first?
Let me pull up the
dummy.
I think that it is better than Minish Cap. As much as I hate to,
he actually rated something better than Minish Cap.
Yeah, I mean, it was excellent, I think, all around. I don't think it has what it takes to compete with Wind Waker and Ocarina of Time and all of them.
No.
I mean, the limitations of a 2D game, I think, more or less. But it's a phenomenal game, I think. that puts me with Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker,
Link Between Worlds,
and Minish Cap Skyward Sword.
Mm-hmm.
I put mine between Under Link's Awakening and above Phantom Hourglass.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of debated between putting it above or below Link's Awakening. I feel like this is a better overall game, but I'm a little bit more charmed by Link's Awakening still.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
The stories and characters and style and everything of it.
I completely agree with you. At first I was like, I think this might be better than Link's Awakening, and then I was like, no, nothing is better than catfishing. So, as a joke. I have Phantom Hourglass above Link's Awakening, but I think I also was more charmed by Link's Awakening, like by the quirkiness of the story and the dialogue and stuff. And I still feel very strong. That game is enjoyable and like quirky and funny, and this game had that to a certain extent, but not as much, and I value that, and so therefore I have ranked it lower. But they were both really fun, and I think this game was this was like the first game in a while where I didn't like struggle very much, and I like enjoyed it. I actively enjoyed playing it, and I was like confident that I was like, oh, like this probably won't take very long. I can like do this thing. I'll be like it won't be hard for me to do this, and so I enjoyed that aspect about it specifically with my skill level. So, and I haven't felt like that in a long time. I think Phantom Hourglass was fine. I didn't really worry about those games like Phantom Hourglass or Spirit Tracks. Skyward Sword just had a lot to get through. Twilight Princess also had a lot to get through, but I felt more confident. And then things like Minish Cap or whatever, and like the Oracles games were like a lot harder. So it was kind of the right level of difficulty for me. And then I think that if you wanted to make it harder, then you could do the Heroes Chant mode or whatever it's called. When the game restarted at the end and it was like, now you can play hero mode, I was like, I won't. Good day. So
it's like, thank you for the offer, but no.
Yeah, I enjoyed this game the way that it was. And I think like there's something about like the kind of the flexibility in solving the puzzles that like makes it, you can make it as challenging as you want by like trying different stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so anyway, that was my thoughts. So it's like Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. Still Wind Waker's at the top. Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, Phantom Hourglass, Link's Awakening, then Link Between Worlds. So I feel like it's like very low on my list, but I did enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, there's just so many good games that like there's only so many, top slots at this point.
I always start by being like, is it better than Ocarina of Time? And then like, no, never, almost never.
Yeah.
It's a good place to start.
Yeah,
I didn't read mine out loud, so mine is Wind Waker, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time, Skyward Sword, Link's Awakening, then Link Between Worlds.
Yeah. I still haven't changed my opinion about Skyward Sword. I still think that I still rank it higher than Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. I don't necessarily know if it's like a better, genre defining game, but it was like interesting and fun, and I enjoyed the visual style, and the music is like out of this world. So Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. Ocarina of Time is just such a standard for so many things about video games today, like not just Legend of Zelda, but
it's a landmark game in like every way. So.
Yeah. That's why I always kind of started as my measuring stick of like, was this game better than Ocarina of Time? And yeah, like most of them really weren't. And I think I still stand by Majora's Mask I rank it higher because it's like it's interesting, and I get that people didn't like it because it was hard and like whatever, but it has like such interesting mechanics also. Like I think they really evolved the game mechanics substantially, even keeping like the same, like a lot of the same assets and concepts. Like assets like literally graphical assets, and then like concepts like the ocarina and traveling to different places, and kind of like the structure where you have to go to these different areas to like help people do whatever, and like whatever, like that kind of stuff. But then the whole like 3-day thing is like, it definitely changes how you play the game, which is cool. And then Twilight Princess is Twilight Princess.
Yeah. It's like Ocarina of Time is like a landmark game, but Majora's Mask, it's like just such its own thing. Like there's no other game I've played that like makes me feel the way playing Majora's Mask does. Like
there's so many questions I didn't want to ask.
Most of them are what the fuck?
what the fuck? The butler's son, the Deku Butler, really?
Yeah.
But then, like, Wind Waker's so fun and charming and, like, also very Zelda, and it builds on the story of Ocarina of Time, and it's, like, I just really, and I love the music, and I just love, like, so many things about it that it just has such high value to me as a game. So,
yeah.
and
Wind Waker's just, like,
gaming.
the perfect aesthetic package to me. It's, like, the music and the visuals and the world, it just all works so well together, and it's like as soon as I boot up Wind Waker and hear that like title music, I'm just like, ah.
The music
and
is
see the King of Red Lions floating on the wind as it like pans around Outset Island. It's just it's just good.
Yeah.
It's a really good game. And it only to me surpassed by Breath of the Wild, which is what we're playing next. Yay. I'm so excited. I'm gonna start it tonight. It's already almost 10 o'clock. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna boot it up. Because I don't care. Because it's such a great game. Yeah. Anyway, so sorry, Cosmo, did you want to say something else?
Well, spoiler, I'm not enjoying it as much right now, but I think it's just the
I think it's the pressure.
Like I want, because like I'm finding myself distracted. Like, oh, I want to collect all the shrines and I want to do all this. I don't have time for all of that, and so I'm like, I know, so I don't have time to do that. Like, I think if like this, just the way we're approaching it is not the way to approach.
But you already beat it once, haven't you?
It is all about exploring and like taking your time, and we're rushed. So I'm
no.
Oh no! It's a fantastic game. I love that game. But like
this would not be the ideal circumstances to play it for the first time. But I think it's fine for a quick replay.
Yeah.
But even like because I have all the DLC, so like the way is that they give you hints on where to find it, and then you have to like uncover. So I'm like, I want to do that. I want to do this, and I'm like, I don't have time. But if I don't do this, I'm not gonna. What? And so I don't know. Just it's a moral dilemma.
Okay, you can play it again after Tears of the
Kingdom. I know. But I'm just saying that like this,
and I will.
This playthrough is just sadly slightly soured, I guess, by just the circumstances. But I mean, I still enjoy it. I'm still excited to play it, and like,
just fill out the time until we record. Who cares?
No, yeah, I know. Like, but it's still going to be my number one game on the list.
Until we play Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. But
who knows? Or maybe we'll just hate it. We'll see what happens.
And like I remember the game well enough that like
I'm really excited to see all the memories again and stuff. Now that I like know more about the series, like I really liked the story in Breath of the Wild, and I'm just excited to experience that again. Like even if you can just go do the Divine Beast or whatever, if I have enough time, I'll definitely still go find all the memories.
Yeah, that was one of the like first things I
really
finished
part of the game.
I played it. It's funny this time though. I found like
all except for the one on the castle.
Oh, I like snuck in to get that one. Like, so I wanted to get them all.
I was like, that looks like it's in a scary place. I don't trust myself. I'll get it later.
But I was like, I want to sneak in and get it. Yeah, this time I'm playing it, and I've got like 3 of the memories, and 2 of them are like the very last one. So it's really funny. It's like I'm glad I already know what happens.
Yeah, you can get them out of order. You can get them in any order. So like you're also kind of like putting the story together like out of order, which also has a very interesting effect. Like as a player.
Yeah, I think it really puts you in Link's shoes of like not knowing what happened and like slowly uncovering it. But
I mean, like I feel like Amnesia is kind of like it could be a device that could go so wrong, but I feel like the way that it works in Breath of the Wild is so great, where it's like you've woken up and you don't remember jack shit, and then it's like as the player you explore this world that's empty, you find everything. Like it works so well to support the vibe and the story.
Yeah, I think in general it works better in video games than a lot of other mediums, because like as a rule you're playing a character. Like, usually you're playing a character that knows more than you, and so, like, you get all these little awkward, like, as you know, this is the job you do, and blah, blah, blah.
Don't ask me, I'm just a kid. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but this is, like, you don't know, we left you this device that's kind of supposed to help you, and there's, like, a couple people who know you, but most people who know you are gone, so... A lot of them are explicitly dead, which also adds this whole vibe to this game.
That's okay, most of them still talk to you.
Sometimes they still save your life and all, so can't Can't wait for Mifa
always
to
got.
save me from
I was gonna say,
jumping
always
off
got to
the
get
cliff.
Mifa's grace first. So then,
Yeah.
I can't decide. I don't remember which one I got first, but I think I'm gonna go for Rivali's Gale
Oh
first.
God,
this
I was like
time.
Raffio. Wait, no, that's the wrong name.
No.
Yeah.
I actually saw in one of the walkthroughs there was a typo that said, "Oh, go talk to Rivali and buy this thing," and I was like, "Well, I'd like to, but he's not here." But yeah, I'm excited.
yeah,
I'm
I
super
like to.
excited.
I don't know. I feel like I'm cheating if I get Rivali's Gale first because it's kind of
It's not
breaks the
cheating, it's
exploration of the
in
game.
the game.
Yeah, I know, but I'm
You don't
like, I
wanna
feel like I have to. I
climb?
feel like I have to struggle through some climbing before I can earn Rivali's Gale.
Yeah, I definitely used to do that. I did that a lot, and then once I got Rivali's Gale, I was like, "Oh my god, I can actually jump up things that are
Yeah.
high."
Yeah, but yeah, I finished Varuta, and I don't know what I'm gonna do
Ooh.
next.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Exciting.
But yeah, it's so easy to be like, all right, I'm gonna go over here, and then like you start off in that direction, then you're like, ooh, what's this?
Ooh, a shrine.
Right?
Ooh,
Oh my God. Oh.
it's intentional though, right? Like this is the whole vibe of this game.
Yeah, I mean that's why all the shrines glow that you can see them from
Yes.
miles away.
And you can get the shrine dar that'll like beep at you and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, shrine dar.
Yeah, that's what I call it. What do you call it? Sheikah sensor? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Shrine dar. I think that Nintendo heard all the complaints of people in Skyward Sword being like, I don't like how it's linear. And they're like, you know what? Hang on. Hold on tight.
They're like, I'll show you linear.
Yeah. Screw you guys. You're going to be distracted by literally everything in this environment. Enjoy. It'll take you 2 years to finish a game that that can be finished in 25 minutes, but whatever.
Yeah. And I caught a horse and named it Rin.
Oh, that's good. Shout out to people who listened to our favorite podcast such a long time ago. Speaking of other old podcasts, did you all, the first Yomi no Sugai is out.
Ooh.
Haru Arakawa's new manga, the
Oh,
translation
yeah,
is
yeah.
out as of, I mean, this is now going to be like several months ago. Probably the second one will almost be out by the time this episode comes out. But if you listen to Equivalent Exchange or whatever, Full Metal Alchemist podcast, there's a new Haru Arakawa manga that started being released in English finally. It's been out for like half a year or something and publishing in Japan. So that's exciting. I haven't
forgot
read
that
it
was
yet.
almost out. I'll need to go and grab that.
It's out now. It's out
Yeah.
today.
Oh wow.
Oh,
really?
it's out like it was
As
out
in,
like
like-
2 weeks ago. Yeah, or
Oh,
a week
okay.
ago or something.
Okay. Well, I thought by it's out today. I thought
It
you
is,
meant like today was
no,
the
no,
first
no.
day.
It was.
Okay.
It's been out for
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I said like I forgot it was coming out almost out. I mean, like I had forgotten that I knew that it was almost out a couple weeks ago. And
yeah, and then
Yeah,
I
they're-
think
just stop by the bookstore.
I was planning to download the ebook first.
Hopefully they have it. Not like that time I stopped there like every day for weeks trying to get the next Full Metal edition that was supposed to be out.
Well, those were important too because they're like so shiny, and it's like I don't want to have one missing from my set. Don't make me do this.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So on that note, so thank you all for listening. Breath of the Wild. Our episode about Breath of the Wild comes out July 1st, so please listen to that. I'm sure everyone will be excited. I hope you all are enjoying Tears of the Kingdom. And make sure you touch the Triforce with a wish in your heart. That was what I said last time that we talked about when we talked about Link to the Past. And there wasn't any good goodbye dialogue in this episode, so or in this game. So anyway, yeah, do that. And play Tears of the Kingdom, and we'll see you for Breath of the Wild on July 1st.
Yay.
Woo!
Yay.
Seven are freed and brought together. They use their power to summon the Triforce of... I wrote power. It's not the Triforce of power.
That's incorrect. How dare you?
The castle is now surrounded by powerful magic bear...
Magic bears.
Struggling today.
That's all I heard.
Yeah, magic bears. Just covered in bears.
Magic bears.
That'd be worse than a very rare thing.
I mean, cocaine bears. The whatever. So
Yeah. Instead of cocaine, he's high on magic.
yeah, of course.